And hello, hi everybody. We are back with FSP, Fun Speculation Podcast. This is a new time on a new day. Yes, usually this show took place on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Due to work scheduling and all this kind of stuff, hey, Saturdays not so good for me anymore. So we're trying new things, trying new times. Um, you know, so Tuesdays was kind of open. I didn't want to schedule it at the same time as one of my other favorite shows, right? That I like to watch. So I went and tried to pick a time slot before RDX. So hopefully 6 p.m. ET works for our audience. Hopefully it works for our panel and everything. Key is still on hiatus right now. He's kind of took a month away from social media, podcasting, and streaming and all that kind of stuff. So he'll be back, but in the meantime, still here, and we actually have some people in the audience as well listening. So shout out to you guys for finding us. And I know YouTube was having a lot of trouble today, I heard. So miraculously, right before we go live, I guess it's fixed. We're live, and some people have stumbled upon our new day and time for FSP. So it's been a few weeks since we've had this show. So thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Fuzzy, who's always here, and I feel like I haven't talked to in a few weeks besides just in DMs and stuff because, I haven't been able to do tidbits lately, and, we haven't been able to do FSP lately, so there's been a lack of Fuzzy Belvedere on this channel, so we had him on Xbox Ultimate a couple weeks ago, but besides that, man, I haven't really been able to talk to you too much. So how's it been going?
Well, glad to be here. So glad to be able to chat with you guys. Man, just been busy playing a lot of Gran Turismo. Yeah, I know. I have my strong words against it, but still at the core, it's still a fun racing game if you don't spend money on it in microtransactions. But outside of that, just been playing a lot of other games. Been playing a little bit of what was that? The Ascent the other day with a few friends with Blam and stuff. He finally has his next gen console, so getting into the Ascent was a lot easier. But man,
did he get an X or an S? I think he got an S, right?
I think he got an S.
Yeah.
They're easier to come by than the X's these days, but man, it's so fun now that he's able to load in just as fast as I can. That was a big difference. I know his Xbox One X, whenever we would try to play the Ascent, it's like, oh, I'm already halfway across the map by the time his character loads in, type of thing. But man, it is so much stuff out there as far as upcoming games, upcoming news events, and man, can't wait to get into it.
It's about to be that season.
Oh,
of news and reveals and all that kind of stuff. So really looking forward to that. And filling in for Key today is a big part of the Fun Speculation family. The lore master himself, Jasper. What's up, dude? How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. Still finishing Lego Star Wars. It's taken me longer than I thought it would, but we're getting there.
You were saying like it's not as big in the levels or something the last time we were talking.
Yeah, but it's a lot of like open world stuff, and like you have to do there's like 140 side missions, but those side missions you have to jump to each planet, and like there's like a 10-second loading screen to jump to each planet. So it's like one side mission you got to go to 4 planets, so that's 40 seconds of loading screen. So it's just like,
yeah, I get you. So, but you still like it? Would you like? It's just not as much as the others.
Yeah, the older ones were better, I think. But
yeah, is that just nostalgia talking? You think, or is it?
I think I like the gameplay style better than the old ones.
But new one looks better.
Yeah.
Right on. I hear you. So speaking of like the Series S and X Fuzzy, like I saw like this ad for like this other. I don't even know what country it was because I couldn't read the language, but they had like a trade-in value, like $50 upgrade fee at like their GameStop type store or whatever to a Series S, and if you trade in a 1X. And so I was like just looking into it. So I looked at our GameStop locally and see what the trade-in value is. It's like $255 or something like that for trading in a Xbox One X if you're a pro member. And they have Series S's pretty like readily available at several GameStops. Now I called my GameStop that's closest to me, and they didn't have a Series S, but they said that, but I do have a Series X. Like really? Y'all have a Series X just sitting there? Said, yeah, but we're offering it as a bundle, so you have to buy a $50 gift card as well. But I actually was sitting there I really thought about it because I have two 1Xs, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the house still, and I want to upgrade those. And
Yeah.
I want one X and one S, another X and another S. But it's still a hard pill to swallow. It's
yeah, I can't trade in my X.
Your
I
1X?
got the Scorpio. Yeah, I got the Scorpio edition, and I'm not trading that.
See, my Scorpio edition got fried.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, when my house got struck by lightning, that was one of the casualties. And when I sent it in, they didn't send me a Scorpio edition back. They sent me a regular one back. You know, so I kind of got screwed with that. But I did manage to get at launch. I got lucky, and I got a Series S and an X at launch. Now I have the two 1Xs, and I've been considering selling those because I have sold some of our other ones because the resale market is so good right now. Like you can sell a 1X for $300 on eBay or Craigslist easily, and you can go around and turn that. You can sell it for more than 300, and you can turn around and turn that into a Series S, which for me, a Series S destroys a 1X, right? Yeah. You may not get 4K resolution in most games, or in almost every game, but
60 frames
the frame rate makes a huge difference there.
Loading times,
and then even just the menu screens. I mean, just navigating through the console.
Yeah,
everything about it is the games look better. They take advantage of some of the newer graphics stuff, that the 1X doesn't. So, man, it's for the same price, it's a no-brainer, I think, to go with the Series S over a 1X. Now, if you can get the Series X, that's obviously the way to go, But that kind of leads us into our first topic is, hey guys, seems like maybe it's just because of availability. I don't know what it is, but the Xbox consoles are kind of at least in North America, the hot thing right now. The several weeks in a row, they've been actually leading PlayStation 5 in sales, and actually, in some instances, actually topping a handheld, the Switch.
I mean, everyone has a Switch at this point. Who's still buying that?
Well, it's surprising how many Switches, and I've bought probably 4 Switches ever since.
I think people just resell those and they count those on the numbers.
You think so? I see. Everyone I've bought, I've sold for the same price I bought it for.
Nice.
So I bought 4 Switches over the course since the Switches came out, and I've sold them all and gotten broke even. But I have this huge library now of digital games that I don't have anything to do with. But I'm kind of hoping that when there's a new Switch eventually announced, that those will be compatible. That may be wishful thinking because it's Nintendo.
I think it will. I mean, they did that with the DS. All those DS games worked on each other.
And between the Wii and the Wii U, they did that as well, right? So I'm hoping that there's a Switch 2 in all of these digital purchases I've made will carry over. If not, I think there'll be a little bit of outrage from the community finally about some of Nintendo's practices. Because you imagine how many people have been buying digital stuff on the Switch.
Yeah.
And if they don't carry those over like they didn't with the Wii into the Switch generation, they can almost make an excuse for that. Well, it's really a handheld you can play as a console, right? So it's not really the same. But
they won't do a Switch 2. They'll just upgrade it. They'll just do Switch Pro or something. They won't do a Switch 2. Switch 2 will be a separate console. They'll just call it something different at that point. That's how Nintendo works.
Yeah. So what do you think they'll call it? Switcheroo?
Who the hell can predict Nintendo names? Can't predict those.
Yeah, that's true. The Wii, the Switch,
GameCube, Switch.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the next different console or whatever they decide to do is going to be a VR headset type of
maybe
thing, a standalone.
Maybe Nintendo 1080p. They'll finally get 1080p graphics.
Or it could be like you said, the VR thing. They could call it Nintendo Head. No, that won't fly. Okay. What's up, Geezer Prime? What's up, Project X Talk, Darth Praxis, the man with a million voices, Vic the Click, Andrew Collinane, 3-Bit. What's up, dude? Thanks for hopping in. Everybody, appreciate you guys stumbling upon us on a new day and new time. Yeah. So speaking of those numbers, according to the, that number's old. Where did that number come from? How did I stumble upon a tweet from like 2021? Hold on.
I think
I need to make sure I get these.
Psycho or someone reposted like some old sales data.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not looking at that one. I don't want to spread any misinfo. That wasn't Psychos. That was for me poorly Google searching. But I know we have it in our little feed here.
Yeah, I think it's for the April 2nd
yeah, here
of
we
2022.
Go. Yes, there it is. All right, so Xbox Series X and S sold 156,599 units the last week, compared to 78,342 for PS5, and in North America, Mexico, and Canada. So in the Americas, you know. So that's like almost double. And it sold 10,000 or 12,000 more than the Switch in the US. Now, if you say you want to go into like the European territories, then it sold 4,000 less, or actually 3,300 less in the PS5 in those areas. So you're still almost double in those sales. And if you add up all territories combined, you're actually at 41,000 consoles difference worldwide in a week. Now you got to think about that. Like that's just 1 week, right? So if that pace were to continue, right, there's 52 weeks in a year. So that's a difference of 2 million consoles in a year, you know. So I don't know if that pace is going to continue, but one thing is for certain, this is not last generation.
No.
Right? And I think that's been proven now. Just like the 360, the Xbox became the dominant, most popular console in the 360 generation. It's seeming like it's gaining a lot of steam, and I don't know what's driving it, if it's Series S or if it's Game Pass, or what do you guys think, or if it's just availability?
I think it's just availability. Like no one's able to find PlayStations. They're just getting Xbox instead. They're tired of waiting on the next gen console. You know, like people probably saved up for a PlayStation. Like it's been 2 years. I can't find it. Let's just get an Xbox. It's what's out right now. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they have any real hope like to supplant in Japan. You know what I mean? But it's been pretty even in Europe for the most part. Now some territories in Europe is less even than others. Europe is one of those things like, you know, if you talk about the UK area, you know, Xbox does like better, but then you go into like some other European countries and it's not as much, you know. But overall in Europe as a whole, like it's been pretty even so far too. So do you think like Fuzzy, this is the Trojan horse of the Series S doing its magic here, because they may be able to have more availability because there is a Series S?
I think it's a little bit of all the above as far as availability, the pricing. I mean, $300 versus $500. Yeah, there's probably some that have already set aside the $500 for the bigger consoles and stuff, but that $300 is you know, kind of like a I wouldn't say a no-brainer, but it's just short of impulse buy territory. And if you do something like Game Pass, I mean, especially if you're buying it for kids or if you're buying it for the entire household, it definitely has an advantage as far as pricing and whatnot. And then the fact that you can actually go into the store and walk out with one, as opposed to having to, you know, fight bots and whatnot online trying to order them from other stores. Yeah, I think right now availability is probably king, but pricing and Game Pass can't be overlooked as well. Those are probably helping push that model. And there's a lot of X's now starting to pop up as far as availability too. So people that were holding out for them, I mean, Microsoft has them available in spurts and sometimes at like GameStop or Walmart and stuff, you can kind of walk in and walk out, and you might have to ask the guy in the back, do like a secret handshake or a secret knock or something, but you'll be able to at least walk out with one of the two that aren't reserved for employees or something.
Well, I'm wondering too if, like, in a weird way, like a roundabout way, if the availability of the S may be actually helping the availability of the X, because there's more options, like as far as availability goes. So,
Mhm.
if there's so many S's available, some people might just go for that, which in turn might make more X's available as well. And
Yeah.
because I've seen, like, I was surprised. I called GameStop, like I said, and they had that one Series X there, and I was like, man, I really want to pull the trigger on that, but I didn't. I restrained myself. But when you talk about 156,000 versus 78,000 in the U.S. Now, a lot of people say, well, there's only availability for the Series S because nobody wants that console. Like, if I go into Target, like I saw in Target the other day, there was like probably 5 Series S's sitting there.
Mhm.
So I think that's led to a lot of people say, like, oh, well, nobody really wants it. That's why it's so available. Well, but then when you see the sales numbers and it's like selling double over what the PS5 is selling, remember the PS5 has 2 SKUs as well, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Good
it
luck
does,
finding that
but
digital.
like,
Good luck. Yeah, good luck finding it. But they do have 2 SKUs as well, right? So
Mhm.
it's like that whole argument of, well, it's only available because nobody wants it, doesn't really add up when it's selling twice the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean?
I think the big thing now is people need to look at PlayStation as far as they are going to have to figure out something as far as getting their availability up to par. And like, I know that there's some buzz in the background about, the PS5 Pro, and it's like, who's going to even care about a PS5 Pro if you can't even get the regular PS5 at this point? So it's they're going to have to figure out a way. And I know that there were some stories out there about the paid priority for chips and whatnot, but it's like they had a head start. They had, was it a 6-month head start as far as manufacturing goes. So I guess that helped them in the beginning, but now it's kind of evening out as far as overall. And there's still, I think, like 2.5 million PS5s that have been sold that remain inactive, probably in scalper basements somewhere off in a far land.
Yeah. Let me get
Yeah.
let me get our buddy Forte in here. Let me send you an invite real quick, Forte. He's an actual retail manager for
Yeah.
GameStop, so he has some insight into this. I'm really curious what you have to say, bro. So let me get you the link real quick. And shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. Let me see here. Got a Forte.
Yeah. Forte was an extreme help for me, helping me
Yeah,
get a DS for one of my sons. It was hard to find, and man, he definitely hooked me up.
yeah, yeah. Forte's a good dude.
Yeah.
He did one thing I like about him too. I know we're about to have him on here, but one thing I like about Forte is, like, he doesn't really BS. He just calls
Yeah.
it like he sees it,
Mhm.
and he does have some more information than a lot of people do when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
curious. PS5s, like he said in the chat, like, sell out instantly. But if there's less availability for it and there's more availability, I don't know how the math is adding up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And shout out to John TJ, hit us with a $2 super chat. Thanks, TJ. Says, hi, guys. Well, hello, John TJ. How are you doing, bro? Um, so Darth Praxis said that in 6 years this coming March, he says, new console, Switch 2, with full DLSS support, pushing super sampled 4K, with Breath of the Wild 2 being its launch crossover title, much like Breath of the Wild 1. 6 years this coming March? Wait, I'm confused about. Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear my daughter in the background? Kate says you can hear her. I'm sorry.
a second ago before I left, I
Yeah,
could.
she's playing Xbox in the next room on a Series S, mind you. Um. Anyway, let's see here. So yeah, sales wise, I don't know. I don't think it has as much. I know it has to do with availability, because
Yeah.
obviously if there was more PlayStations available, they'd be selling more,
Oh yeah.
right? But it's not. I don't think it's for the reason that people don't want Xboxes. Like, I'm wondering, okay, let's say that there was if PlayStation was able to make 3 times the consoles available, right?
Mhm.
Would they still be selling out?
I think you get to a point where it's going to be like diminishing returns, but I think when it comes to the PlayStation brand overall, I mean, they sold 100 and some odd million, 120 some million. So you got to figure somewhere close to that number is probably going to sell out again if they're readily available. If people can walk into a store, walk out, or go online, click a button, add it to cart, and actually have it stay in cart for checkout,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they would probably sell a good bit of them. But I don't think it's one of those things where people have completely given up just yet. Although, you know, for some it's been almost 2 years. Can't get that PS5. I'm not waiting anymore. Let me just go ahead and get the what's on the shelf type of thing. But I can't see that being all of those numbers. I think there's a lot of casual or I guess you could say the average consumer that's buying them as opposed to the enthusiast. The enthusiast that wants a PS5 is going to still buy a PS5. The enthusiast that wants a Series X or a Series S, they're going to buy a Series X or Series S. But otherwise they would possibly pick up the other one as an alternative, as a second console if they have that wherewithal to be able to do so, type of thing. But
Is this why
Yeah.
they're still manufacturing PS4s and stuff? I remember how they had expanded, the length of the PS4 generation. Right?
I mean, they're still making games for PlayStation 4.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean Xbox is for the Xbox One. Well, maybe not
Yeah.
anymore.
I think Halo, or wasn't that the last one?
Halo and
it might
Forza
have been.
Horizon 5. I think those are the last two I can recall. I mean, there's some speculation about the next Motorsport, only because they were testing on the Xbox One, but I think that was just for testing purposes, but not the intended platform. I think pretty much everything else that's coming out is Series X and S only, and that you'll be able to play it via the cloud on like a Xbox One or something along those lines, like Flight Sim. You can't play it natively on Xbox One, but you can play it on an Xbox One type of thing.
Well, I guess technically, if the Bethesda thing goes through, Call of Duty this year will still come out on the Xbox One. So
yeah,
guess.
yeah. True.
Dude, I wonder if this is gonna only get better though with availability, or if it's gonna get worse. Like, if there's X's sitting in the back rooms at GameStops,
Mhm.
Then it doesn't seem like Xbox is gonna have an availability problem anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it could just be like maybe they got to batch in, and like we'll have to see if like they can continue this like availability that they have now, or if it's just like they got a big batch and we're able to deliver a bunch.
Yeah. It's been a problem ever since what are we going in 2 years now? Like when did they launch? Like 2000 and
was it November
of 2020,
20?
right?
Yeah.
So it's going on like 18 months almost, right? Like 16 months, 17 months now the consoles have been out.
Mhm.
And there's been availability problems, ever since launch. And usually that's kind of wrapped up after the first few months of a console, maybe like 6 months, maybe a year at the latest, but like maybe it's finally starting to turn around. Now, as far as PS5, I don't know when that's going to turn around. Yeah, I don't see like there's no sign of it getting better right now.
Well, I mean, technically they're still ahead on like total sales, like if like you count everything, but like maybe like when they were first manufacturing the consoles, maybe PlayStation got like the bulk order in before Xbox, so they were able to have all their consoles out now, and then Xbox is finally getting their orders in.
I think PlayStation had a head start, on the chips and stuff, so they had more like available like right away. What's up, Forte?
What's up?
How's it going, bro? We're talking sales numbers. I see you had to like ask for a link, man. I appreciate you wanting to hop in here. Trying to speak your truth about what is going on behind the scenes over there in your back rooms.
In back rooms, yeah. I wish the funny thing, I wish I could always take a picture of the back room, but I ain't trying to get in trouble.
Yeah, I hear you. We don't know what kind of shenanigans go on in your back rooms, so we don't need to see all that.
Well, you'd be surprised. It's a lot of tomfoolery to be having in some of the back rooms of some of these stores.
Yeah, I've heard stories.
Yeah, I'm just on my way to inventory, so I was like, "Oh, I'll call in while I'm driving down here." But no, man. I will just say one thing when it comes to like the situation.
Yeah.
Xbox is definitely doing way better than they ever did last generation. So can't take that away from them at all.
Yeah.
But but we got to be for real. This availability thing for PlayStation is utter garbage right now.
Right.
And you can tell by the fact that like we just started getting Xboxes pretty consistently. The S has always been pretty readily available, where the X literally over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we pretty much, I would say consistently always have an X, or we usually don't go 2 or 3 days without having at least a couple of X's in the store. PlayStation, on the other hand, man, they got to do events for those things. Like they'll do like a massive drop. Like we had a massive drop of PlayStations on April 2nd, where my store alone had like 28 of them or something. I think it was like 28.
Wow. Yeah.
And they were all gone that same day. Every store in the company got them that same day, and they were gone. It's being rumored that we're having another PlayStation event coming up towards the end of this month. No, of course, soon I find out more information, I'll let everybody know, because it's going to be public knowledge at that point. But it just really comes down to PlayStation just can't keep up with the demand. And I heard you were talking about the 2 SKU thing. And if you want to really know which system is really driving the narrative for Xbox, it's definitely the S that's doing it.
Yeah.
Because when they track the MPD number, they track it for units sold, and they also track it by dollar amount. And if you always look at the dollar amount side of it, even when Switch was winning MPDs month after month, PlayStation will always dominate the actual category on dollars sold, because we all know a Switch costs no more than $349 and the PlayStation 5 costs $500. Whereas if you look at it now, PlayStation still dominates in the sales side of it, even though they're selling, like you said, 40,000 less systems. That's because the system that's only available for the most part to get is a $500 option. Whereas Xbox has that $300 option, even though they're outpacing PlayStation when it comes to units sold. It just lets you know how amazing that S is really selling for them. And it's a reason that they keep those things in store, because you got to think for every S that they make, it probably takes less. They could probably make 3 S's to every 1 X that they make. That's just a number I'm throwing out there, but
yeah, even if it's 2 to 1, that's still that's still astronomical.
That's a huge number. Yeah, it's a huge number, and people got to really kind of look at that situation. But in general, the X, it definitely still sells. It takes a little bit longer to sell out of those compared to PlayStation, just because Xbox, you have a bunch of options. Just like for you almost pulled the trigger on an Xbox when you saw it. But a lot of people now is like, oh, okay, well, I already got the S. I can wait to get the X later, or I already got an X and I'll wait, or I got a PlayStation and I'll wait to get the X later. The fact that Xbox gives you an option and you technically don't have to have the system, that kind of like lends itself to the point where I really don't need to get it now. Whereas I just feel like when PlayStations are available, people just run out to get one. Like it's literally crazy. Like the day we had them, I got there that morning. They were pretty much already spoken for before I even got to the store, because the line was so freaking ridiculous to get them. And people are like, I've been looking for this thing for 2 years. I've been looking for like this, for however long and stuff. And you still hear that about when it comes to the X on a more micro level. But the availability is literally the reason that this is truly happening. Now, the one thing I always tell people is I feel like the reason Xbox did so well in the 360 generation is because they converted a lot of PlayStation people outside of PlayStation shooting themselves in the foot, basically.
Yeah, with the $600 price point. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
And you got to afford a second job to basically get it. Outside of that, Xbox gave PlayStation gamers, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 gamers a reason to own an Xbox, with games like Gears of War and Mass Effect and games like that being exclusive to the platform, Dragon Age and all this other crazy stuff. They did that initially for people, and people on PlayStation was like, well, I got to get an Xbox because PlayStation ain't even doing this. And the problem with last generation is Xbox didn't do that. So the people that bought PlayStation didn't find a reason to own both consoles. Now, Game Pass is like a really huge driving point for them. So even if the games aren't there, you can't ignore the fact that, dude, am I going to buy the same game on another platform and pay $60-$70 for it when I can get it over here for half the price? Plus the promise that Xbox is going to have with their first party titles. People always crap on us and say, well, we don't know what those are going to be yet because they're not here yet. But it's still the fact that we know it's an option that's going to be there. And that's going to drive the narrative too.
Well,
so
that's a
Xbox
point too, man. I think like what you hit something that I haven't really considered too much of, right? Because with the Series S and also the availability of it, plus the price point, plus Game Pass, even if you were just like a PlayStation owner and that's all you cared about, at some point with the price point and the value, that has to be enticing even for a second option, right?
Well, that's what think about. That's what most people are doing. Like I know a bunch of people that literally just came in to buy an S. They said, well, I already got a PlayStation 5. I don't need to hire in Xbox. I just want the S so I could get Game Pass.
Yeah. That's crazy though,
that's
right? Like, yeah, I mean, that's considering like last generation, how, you know, over like it was just for, I would say 70% of the hardcore gamers or whatever out there, a casual market, the Xbox wasn't in their mind, right? It was just like, okay, PlayStation only because of all the bad stuff that was out there with Xbox. And it's like, now it's like almost like Xbox is becoming like a family option, like a secondary option that more households are going to find itself in, whether it's going to be the system that has the exact games that you're looking for or not. And it's going to have enough there value wise to find its way into a lot of houses, right? I'm curious, like in PlayStation, like you're saying, the dollar amounts wise, if they're only able to keep up with a certain amount of volume anyway, right, for demand, it doesn't make any sense for them to even push the digital edition because they know they're going to sell out of the $4.99 one, right? So why
you don't see them?
Why even manufacture it?
Is,
you know,
the PlayStation thing just mentality of like how people are now? Because like at the beginning of the pandemic, toilet paper went out and no one could find toilet paper. Is that just like how PlayStation is right now? Like
PlayStation is the toilet paper
rare, so it's like everyone goes and buys it.
Well, PlayStation let's be for real. PlayStation is a bigger name.
Yeah,
Microsoft's a bigger company, but PlayStation's a bigger name
for gaming. It's like
people,
PlayStation, Nintendo is the two main names in gaming.
Yeah. Like Xbox is just. The reason I say Xbox is doing great because they're doing great where they need to do great, which is here in America. That's where they did great in the 360 generation. 360 generation in America, they outsold PlayStation like 3-1 and 4-1 in America. But it was where PlayStation caught up was in all the regions Xbox isn't strong in, like Europe and Japan and stuff like that. Because there was a huge difference, like 7-1 overseas. Now you're starting to see Xbox gain some of that mind share back in America. That's where they need to be competitive at. But the thing is, PlayStation's always had a huge brand that was worldwide appeal. So when they put out a system, and especially when people, you know, it would think about like the Wii was. Remember the Wii back in 2006, 2007?
Oh, yeah.
How many people just bought it because they felt like they had to.
Old people were buying that.
Yeah, well, remember all the demos they had at the mall? You know, you walk around the mall, you'd see like old people like swinging their nunchucks around, you know, like playing Wii Golf and, you know, Wii Fit, you know, standing on the balance boards.
Me and my wife, and I'm a huge, you know, we all huge gamers. And me and my wife, we didn't even have the Switch the first year. We walked into a Circuit City, shout out Circuit City.
Yeah,
we walked into we walked into a Circuit City. And we were walking in the, she was looking at CDs, and I was just looking at games. And I said, babe, look, they got a freaking Wii here. You know, didn't even care about a Wii. I bought that mug right then and there.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen it. I was like, dude, it was like one of those things that I was like, I'm not searching for one. I'm not going to set my schedule to go find one. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. But as soon as I saw it, it was like a unicorn in front of me, and I was like, I have to purchase it.
Yeah, it's like, you better get it now. You may never get this chance again. I don't even know if I want it, but like, if you decide you want it later, you may not be able to get it.
And that's how the PlayStation is. It's like, I was telling people day one when because everybody kept saying, well, why you buy a PlayStation now? Why didn't you just, because I only really bought it for God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, why did you buy it now? You could have just waited, because Ragnarok didn't come out for, it's still not out.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, I bought this PlayStation because who knows what the situation is going to be in 6 months to get one. Now, I didn't know it was still going to be this situation a year and a half, almost 2 years later. But I tell everybody to this day, I am happy that PlayStation is sitting underneath my TV, and I don't have to worry about going out to get one because I got mine's day one. Because there's people out here that's literally been struggling. And we look at it, and I always tell people it's easy to get. You can actually get a PlayStation if you really, really want to. But you got to like put a second job in to do it. And you got to be like really tuned in and following different people on social media and stuff like that. And that's why you see these people going like, oh man, it's been like a year. I've been looking for this thing since Christmas. I've been looking for it since it launched. And they're willing to, once they find out that they have a really good chance of getting it, the thing sells out instantly, because there's more people that want it than the demand can actually demand for it. It's going to be like that for a while.
And I'm wondering how the bot situation is right now, because like has it cooled down enough to lessen the effectiveness of the bots? Because really that only the resale value is going to dictate how aggressive that is, that market.
No, it didn't. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of my friends, a bunch of different store managers, and we had a used one that someone traded in, money reasons, traded it in at the store. And 15 minutes later, a dude just walked in the store asking about a PlayStation. He said, hey, when y'all gonna have your next PlayStation drop? And he was like, oh, well, actually, I have a used one that somebody traded in. And the dude was like, oh, I'll buy it right now. And he bought it. And as soon as the associate handed him the receipt, he said, I'm literally about to go home and put this thing on eBay and flip it for $600.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right now, I mean, I'm looking at eBay right
said.
now on the sold list, right? And I'm just going through the sales list. Okay, so I see 650, 750. Here's a brand new sealed Sony PS5 digital edition console, white. Bought from Best Buy, sold April 12th. That's today. Had 14 bids on it, $3,250.
God dang!
I don't know why. Like,
crazy.
Why? Why? Like, why would you spend $3,000? Like, is that fake? Did they buy it themselves to drive up the market? I don't know. 750. 750, 645, 770 with 2 games. 650. Here's one. Somebody got one for 475. Brand new.
That.
Oh, they got
might
lucky.
be a picture.
Yeah, they got lucky. Here's one.
They got a picture.
8 bids for 530. That's fair, right? 714, 720, 749, 540. It seems like if you want to sell one for 700, 750, you're gonna be able to, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to easily.
This $3,250 one, I don't know. Another one had 37 bids. 37 bids. Sony PS5 Blu-ray edition console, white, and it has a few games with it. $3,350.
Dang, it's crazy, bro. Well, listen, man, it's gonna be a very wild 2022 when it comes to system sales. But the one thing I always want people to know is, just because the narrative is like, oh, PlayStation, the only reason Xbox is winning is because PlayStations are not available. That may be true, but let's not discount the fact that Xbox is in the position that they can even put themselves to be the market leader when it comes to sales because of the changes they made over the course of this generation. PlayStation definitely shot themselves in the foot by not having the availability, but Xbox is definitely taking advantage of it. And I know a lot of us were talking real sideways about that S, like when we first heard it got announced. We were like, yo, what is the purpose of this $300 box? Now everybody see what the purpose of it is, and I think people are starting to really see the value.
I said from the start
see the value.
that over the course of the generation, at least in the U.S., I can't speak for other territories, right? Because I just think Xbox doesn't have much of a chance in Japan and certain territories in Europe, right? But I still think Series S is going to be the #1 selling console this generation. Now, console, not handheld, right? I don't count the Switch. Switch doesn't count.
Oh no, man. We gotta count the Switch.
No, you can't count the Switch. The Switch is a handheld device. Come on, you're competing against DSs and 3DS. Come on, Forte. No, I won't have. Not on my show.
Listen, the Switch is going to be the highest grossing and selling system of all time.
Yes, it will. But it's a handheld.
It will surpass the PS2 at some point.
Now you can't. You got to compare it to a DS and a 2DS and a 3DS and a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advance. Just because you can hook a HDMI cord up to it and stick it on a TV doesn't make it a console.
Listen. If you can hook that thing up to it, listen. Guess what? You know what the Steam Deck is going to be? It's going to be a console.
No, the Steam Deck is not a console. It's a handheld.
but you know those numbers are going to be compared against consoles, and that's why they're all on the same NPD list.
Man, I'm sick of
I'm with you.
I'm sick of like the comparison of numbers between a handheld device and a console, right? It's just like
it's not a handheld device. It's a hybrid device, sir.
Okay, well, it's a hybrid in the fact that it's the first handheld device sold by Nintendo that you can hook up to your TV.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. But it's still a handheld device primarily.
Okay. But
all right. Let me give you the reasons why.
All right, go ahead.
The Wii and the Wii U had more features than the Switch because it's limited by the size and capabilities of the device.
Uh-huh.
It had more.
Which had better games though? Which one had better games though?
Well, I will say the start of the Wii generation was very strong, but then they turned into a shovelware machine, right?
Exactly. And what was the Wii U? The Wii U was okay.
The Wii U was okay, but the thing is, like, the Wii U had better graphics than the Switch. The Wii U was more powerful machine than the Switch.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll give you that.
So they actually went down in capability as far as hardware goes when they went from the Wii U to the Switch. Why? Because of the lack of...
How many games are they selling, sir?
Well, on the Wii
U,
I
only bought a Wii U to play Mario Kart 8, and then I never played any other game.
Most profitable company when it comes to video games is Nintendo.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, they're great. They're great at taking advantage of their customers.
And their systems are system sellers, and their games are system sellers.
Yeah.
And the Switch is the Switch is a system that you can take on the go and play at home, sir.
Exactly.
So it's a console.
Hold on. What are the two of the best-selling games on the Switch? Mario Kart 8. And also Zelda Breath of the Wild, which also came out on the Wii U. Those games were designed originally for the Wii U and then ported over in a version to the Switch, and they're some of the biggest games on the Switch.
What we gonna do about that? What we gonna do about that 25 million that Splatoon 2 sold?
I don't know, man. Like here's
what we gonna do about that? What we gonna do?
Where's Animal Crossing? Didn't that sell like 50 million?
Yeah.
What we gonna do about that? What we gonna do about those Pokemon games that they sell two of the same game in two different colors that sell over 25 million?
Come out twice in a year.
They've been selling those on handheld devices for years in those kind of numbers.
I'm just saying, what we gonna do about those? See, listen, if we're gonna try to take away the success and say that the Switch is a handheld, then we shouldn't be counting the fact that it's Xbox One and Xbox. Wait, hold on. We can't be saying that. Oh, if Switch isn't a console. We can't be saying that, well, they should be combining the numbers of Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X and PS4 and PS4 Pro. And listen, it's a whole bunch of tomfoolery going on when it comes to these numbers. Let's just take it as what it is. Nintendo's out here running roughshod on people when it comes to these sales numbers. Because, and this is the thing.
I'll give you that.
Nintendo is fighting a battle that they know how to win, and the battle they're fighting is to be the best second console in your arsenal. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
that's all they're doing. They don't want to be the number one. Now they have fans that are only Nintendo fans and they only play Nintendo properties, but for the most part, they don't care if you have an Xbox or a PlayStation in your house. They say you can't play our games anywhere else. And when people always talk about the exclusives matters line, I always say, yeah, you're right when it comes to Nintendo. Exclusives absolutely matter when it comes to Nintendo because Nintendo's system only sells because of exclusives.
Yeah, well, they don't sell. I mean, they do. They've started more because of the Switch with a lot of these ports and stuff now.
Yeah, but you're not buying Doom to play on the Switch.
No, you're not buying a Switch to play Doom. You're buying a Switch to play Mario games and your Mario
Right.
parties and the Mario Kart and your Zelda, Metroid, that kind of stuff, right? Now, I'm just curious when this next iteration is going to be, because that's going to be the one that's going to be for me, right?
Oh, you talking about the Switch Pro, whatever?
Yeah.
Whatever the hell it's gonna be?
I'm somebody that plays on a big display. I don't like handhelds, right? And for me, a lot of the games that
I see where this is coming from.
a lot of
see
the
bias
games,
now.
a lot of the games that I'm most interested in, like on a Switch, are like these, like Xenoblade Chronicles or like Fire Emblem, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I really want the experience of playing that grand fashion on a big display. The problem I have is when I put it on a big ass display, wow, it looks like shit. And the game.
Let me ask you something. Let me tell you something. Tell you something, man. You have a beautiful wife named Caitlin.
Yeah,
Beautiful
I do,
wife.
yeah.
Lovely.
Very lucky.
She's in the chat. She's doing her thing on the moderator side. She's probably downstairs in her pink room looking at the screen while she's doing it.
Yeah.
You could pick that. Look, can you take your Xbox into your room and lay down next to your wife in your bed and not pay no attention to the TV? No, you can't. You gotta look at your screen and you gotta look at your monitor while your wife sitting next to you looking all nice and good. Whereas if you got a Switch, you can do whatever you ain't even gotta look at your TV. You can just lay back in bed with your head all in your Switch, and your wife can just be there, just rubbing on your chest and stuff. Listen, the Switch is for you, man.
What is going on here?
Hey, but you just also told me that the Switch is a handheld, so
it is a handheld, but you can also put it on the TV too.
I know. I just don't like it on the TV, man. I don't
hook it up to a TV. I haven't played on the TV in years on my Switch. That's why I got an OLED now, because
I
OLED
never
is better.
used the TV on
like
Switch.
the screen. I just never been into like I had Game Boys back in the day. I've had 3DSs. I had a Vita. The Vita for me was my favorite handheld device, right? I had the what was it? The Game Gear, and also had. I just can never get into any single handheld device, like really like where I played a lot. You know what I mean? And the whole thing about the Switch is like cool. I'll be able to get all these games, one thing, kind of do whatever I want with it. I never played it in handheld mode. I leave it in the dock. I turn it on like a console. But then for me, that experience I got in that mode was lesser than what I got with the Wii U. Which with the virtual console, the back compat with the Wii, the all of that other stuff had more, right? Console features.
Okay.
So for me it was like console wise, the Switch was a step back. Like now portability, accessibility wise, and also game wise, it also had a step up in some areas, right? For sure. But I just really want that next iteration to bridge that gap better, to make it more for console gamers like me. You know what I mean?
So okay, and I agree 100% because I'm in the same boat. I'll buy the next iteration when it happens. But you want to know why this thing should be counted and how
slow-mo.
your scenario just got thrown out the window by your own logic? I'm gonna tell you why. Because you said it's a handheld.
Yeah.
But how many times did you literally just call it a console in the last 10 seconds? You said this console.
I try and use it as a console, but it feels like a half-ass like.
But
it's like feels outdated.
But no. You said But if it wasn't a console, you wouldn't be able to use it as a console. You wouldn't even be able to. You wouldn't even be able to try to use it as a console if it wasn't a console. It's a console.
I guess, but I could take my mobile phone and I could, take a HDMI cable and hook it up to my TV too.
Oh my
is
God.
Is it a console? Is it a console? If I dock my phone to my TV, is my phone a console?
Some of the smartphones are more powerful than some consoles.
I think a console
you can actually
is
make a
something
phone a
that
PC.
I think a console is something that you can natively put your games and play them natively on your system. Even a PC could be considered a console at a certain point, but it's not because they don't count it that way.
The Steam Deck, it would be a handheld.
Well, they actually do. They count the Steam Deck as a console.
I don't. This is a handheld. Like handhelds, I don't know. It's a different category, man. Because
I think the problem is the games you want to play on the Switch aren't like handheld friendly to you. Like if you want to play the Switch on a TV, you need to play like Switch Sports or Mario Party, like family games, like where you get a bunch of people around the TV.
Yeah, but I don't want to play any games in handheld mode.
Oh my God, man! Stop it! Stop it! You killing me.
You know what? I take it back. Candy Crush. Candy Crush is lit in handheld mode on my mobile phone. Right?
They
I
got
love it.
Bejeweled on
Oh
the
my
Switch, don't they?
God.
You can play Bejeweled.
You know, Tetris was like one of the best handheld games of all time. You know, certain games I like in handheld mode. I'm not the one to like walk around, you know, with my head in a little screen, like playing a game, or I don't go on buses or trains and planes too much.
You don't
Like,
have to go on a bus. Oh
when
my
I'm
God.
driving, when I'm in a car, I'm driving.
You don't even have to
When
do that.
when do I have
Man,
time to play in
man,
handheld
man,
mode?
man.
I don't have time to
Man.
play it. When am I supposed to do it? When I'm shitting? I like 5 minutes that it takes to play a game.
Man,
Like
listen,
I'm not gonna play like 5 minutes of Xenoblade Chronicles and get like through 3 boxes of dialogue
man, oh
and
my
while I'm taking a
God.
shit. I mean, when am
You
I supposed to
killing me.
do it, dude? You know,
Man, you killing me. I play my Switch every day. I have a routine. I wake up in the morning. I play Puyo Puyo Tetris every morning because it's something that stimulates my brain.
I love Puyo Puyo Tetris too. That one's great.
I love it. I love it. I almost bought it on Xbox, and then I was like, no, I'm buying this on Switch because it's better on the Switch. So I play Puyo Puyo Tetris every morning because it helps like get my cognizance going in the morning because I got to think. And then at night, I always like right before I go to sleep, because I'm one of those people that can't just fall straight asleep. So instead of watching TV or scrolling Twitter and getting mad at everybody on there for the stupid stuff they say, I just log into a Switch game and I'll play that. Like I'm 14 hours into Triangle Strategy and never played that at any time other than 20 minutes before I fell asleep.
Yeah.
So I mean, the
Triangle
Switch,
Strategy.
listen,
I actually want that one. I do want to get that.
Yeah,
That's
Triangle
the only
Strategy is cool.
That's the only game I've like considered rebuying a Switch for again. But then I would play through it and I'd reset and I'd sell the Switch again.
You wouldn't play through it. You would get like an hour in and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're just as bad as my co-host Slow-Mo. Selling your Switch because ain't nothing for you.
He said that Slow-Mo did say in the chat that the Switch is only good for one thing, a Frisbee. You know what doesn't make a good Frisbee is a console. You know what makes a good Frisbee is a handheld.
Ma'am, you have a good
throw.
day. Y'all have a good day. I am out of here. Hey, y'all have a good night. I'm literally sitting in the parking lot about to go do this inventory.
Hey,
I appreciate
Forte.
you sending me the invite.
hey,
but,
Forte, thanks for hopping on with us, man. You're always like a great dude. I love your takes. 100%.
Oh yeah, no problem, brother.
Always welcome anytime, any place.
Oh, absolutely. And we definitely got to get all of you guys over on DPS, when we get everything together and start getting guests back on there again.
Right on, bro. Have some fun counting stuff.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'll give you this one last rant. I'll give you this one last rant. With all the tariffs and all the shipping problems and stuff, we finally started getting all the stuff for stores that we supposed to have during the holidays and Christmas. And now we're starting to get that stuff now. So all the stores are so jam-packed full of product, it makes me cry because it's like, where are we going to put all this?
Get your like candy cane Fortnite cosmetics right here. You got your cosmetic cards with Santa. Right. That's great, dude. It's good to know that y'all have extra inventory though. So I'll start checking out GameStops. I imagine some good deals coming up soon.
All right, I'll hit y'all up later.
Yeah, take it easy, man.
All right,
later.
man. Take care.
Later, bro.
Well, now that we've officially confirmed that the Switch is a handheld device and not a console, and we've also got some great insight from Forte on the kind of the stocking situations and stuff. I think a lot of it's kind of what we've been talking about, right? It's availability, but also like if they weren't doing something right, people wouldn't be buying them anyway. You know what I mean? So the sales numbers are still high, especially in the US compared to the PS5. Now the question is, when is the PlayStation gonna get their issues resolved? And the longer it takes for them to do so, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's gonna be end in sight to the availability of the Xbox.
Yeah, I'm really curious on how Call of Duty is going to impact this in the future, because a lot of people just buy whatever the Call of Duty box is.
Yeah.
Maybe by then the availability will be fine for both consoles, and then whoever's selling most then you'd be like, oh, maybe it's Call of Duty. I don't know.
Is there a slim chance that let's say this deal goes through, Activision Blizzard this year, right? It's possible it could go through this year. Is there a slim chance that we see Call of Duty on Game Pass day one?
I think as long as the release date is after the papers are signed,
Yeah.
Yes. If the release day is before, then it would have to wait until after the papers are signed, type of thing, like maybe a week or two or whatever. But I always, even before the Senators kind of stepped in and grandstanded a bit, I always thought that this was going to be something that could be resolved come August-ish time. So we'll see. But I think Call of Duty does make it into Game Pass. It's just that if it releases in November and the deal isn't done by November, then just wait until after the deal is done, type of thing.
Yeah. I wonder if any pre-existing agreements with PlayStation over the marketing rights and stuff would hinder that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
That could.
Yeah, I mean, I put that on Twitter, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, actually brought that up, and I remember we had that discussion before, but also
you could just like buy out the contract too.
Potentially, but the other aspect of it is like Call of Duty's so big, and Activision maybe they wouldn't have signed a deal that actually constrains their rights to do anything else, with it. But different than the other contracts that were leaked before, right? Because like if I was like PlayStation and Activision, then they're doing that deal. Like maybe Sony was never really worried about them bringing that game to Game Pass because they knew they never would.
Yeah. Yeah, so that clause wouldn't be in there.
It wasn't even part of their they're not going to put Call of Duty in there day one. It's like they even have to put that as a sticking point in a contract, and I mean, I just basically saying like different deals with different games and stuff are not going to be the same across the board. I wouldn't think, because certain franchises and certain titles may hold more weight in the negotiating room, right? So I don't know where that would stand. But
yeah, it's interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, I know that there's that whole not in a streaming service clause that they did with I think it was Resident Evil or something along those lines, possibly, but we'll see. I mean, Activision's a big enough company, and it's the same thing, kind of like with Take-Two. Be like, what's this in this contract? God, get this crap out of here if you want the deal or not. It's like we have those other guys across the street. They'll give us a bag of money just as easily as you guys will, type of thing. So I can't imagine, kind of like what Jasper was saying, like them really wanting to bother with that in the contract type of deal.
Yeah.
I mean, also Call of Duty makes like $25 million a day or whatever. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So speaking of games coming to Game Pass, did y'all hear about this one? There's a little game called Bug Snacks hitting Game Pass and Game Pass PC soon. It seems like, I mean, now this was never like a PlayStation property, right? But like, it's just interesting that some of these games, like now MLB The Show, like it's games that were heavily marketed, for PlayStation and stuff, like coming into like these services on Xbox now, like Bug Snacks was heavily marketed around the launch of the PS5. 16 months later, coming to Game Pass, but coming to Game Pass day one on Xbox release, right? So for Xbox gamers that only have an Xbox, this is a new title, right? And also on PC. So is that going to find a new audience? Is Bug Snacks going to have some redemption here? Are we gonna find that? Is it going to be the replacement for Viva Pinata? Since we never got Viva Pinata, this Bug Snacks living in Game Pass. I don't know. Anybody excited?
I could see some. I'm not any more excited than I was when it first released on the PS5. It's kind of like, for me, the most fun I've had watching Bug Snacks was watching Slow-Mo do like the stream. I guess he lost a bet or something, and it was more fun watching him suffer through the stream than the gameplay itself. So I mean, I the one thing I will say is, if it's going to be on PC Game Pass, I'm curious to see what the modding community, if there is a modding community out there, what they might try with it, type of thing. But
oh my god, that might be horrifying also. I gotta hit up this super chat from John TJ for $10. He says, thank you, John TJ again. He says just wait till Microsoft puts Call of Duty on a Series S for $250, with 3 months of Game Pass. Sony is screwed. There goes the casual audience, right? I mean, this holiday is going to be interesting. Also, going back to the sales numbers, if PlayStation doesn't figure out a way to ramp up the availability, which I think they're probably going to have like a larger quantity available around the holidays than just like throughout the regular months of the year.
Mhm.
But if Xbox is able to stock up on all this availability over the course of the year and still maintain the sales, and they do drop the price, it's going to be substantial. That's going to be a hot holiday item for sure.
The backwards moves that Sony's making, I could see them bundling in PlayStation VR2 and charging $1,000 for a VR2 and a PlayStation 5 in like a bundle, and that's the only way you get it this holiday.
Oh my god, no, they can't do that. They can't do that. Don't.
That's PS3 days again. Oh, get a second job.
Yeah, they can't do that. They don't even put that into the. Don't Jim Ryan might be listening. He might be taking notes. We don't want to. Don't want anybody to get any ideas. But also, a lot of that's on the retailers, what they do, because they know they have like a certain amount of availability and they know that they're going to sell out. So they come up with these like crazy ideas, well, here, we're going to sell out anyway. So let's make them buy 2 of this other game that we have like 50,000 extra copies of also. Right.
It helps clear out inventory for the end of the year.
Get your PS5 Bug Snacks edition this holiday for $6,000 only at GameStop. Who knows, man? You see crazy stuff occasionally. Here, buy your PS5 with 8 controllers. You need 8 controllers? You need 8 controllers, 2 headsets, 18 games, and 3 digital gift cards for your PS5. We have 2 versions of each game included. No, the bundles do get out of hand sometimes with availability, but I think I'm hoping they have a large amount. Now, one thing PlayStation's done well is sell direct to consumer pretty well, also with their like programs they've had where you get the email, So I have I do like how they've done that, and they've sold a lot that way, I think. So I would be interested to know how many consoles have been actually sold through just PlayStation Store, right, as opposed to traditional retailers. But yeah, going back to Bug Snacks, Jasper, I mean, is this like on your list of games you want to play?
I'm like kind of iffy on it. Like I want to try it out because it's like it looks like it could be like a cutesy fun game or something. I don't know. I'll try it out. But if it's like, I'm kind of more interested on the achievement list of it. If it's an easy like achievement 1,000, I'll do it like day one. But
yeah, you just achievement whore it.
Yeah,
I didn't ever buy. This isn't a game I would ever buy. If it's like free for like PS Plus, which it could have been.
It was the first like launch like PlayStation 5 free game or whatever. It was Bug Snacks.
Okay. Yeah, I may have gotten it for PS Plus for free. I'm not even sure. But I would be curious to try it. Like the thing is on Xbox is if it's on Game Pass, I know my daughter may be interested in it, right? So she'll play it on her Xbox and test it, see if it's for her. So I'm excited about that. But it is interesting to see some of these games, kind of turn around and be could it be at the end of the day more synonymous with Game Pass than it ever was with PlayStation? If it finds a bigger audience.
Well, the thing is, like, it was like free for a month on PlayStation, but like, how many people got a PlayStation 5 in the first month to like claim the free game?
Yeah, but can you claim PS5 games even if you only have a PS4? I think you can, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, let's say if you
Maybe.
have PS Plus and like you're getting
Yeah.
at some point, like because you can claim like PS4 games if you have a PS5. But I don't know. I'm curious how that works.
I haven't tried it.
Let's see what else. There was one more big news.
Halo.
Yeah, that's right. Almost forgot our biggest news topic. Now, Halo. The much talked about and discussed Halo Infinite.
We literally talked about this on the podcast last week. Like, what happened?
Yeah. There's been a lot of more discussion since because a certain Affinity has made a tweet regarding Halo, and it is basically they are, in their words. I want to make sure I get their words correctly. It says we've been part of the Halo franchise for more than 15 years, which we talked about on Ultimate. And they're honored to say they are deepening their relationship with 343 and have been entrusted. They're using words like deepening relationship, entrusted, with further evolving. I like all these tag words here. Evolving Halo Infinite in some new and exciting ways. Join us on our journey. So then they hire then they put a hiring link, for their careers page. So, according to Windows Central, which they had posted a couple weeks ago, I think like 2 weeks ago or so, Certain Affinity is making a new mode, supposedly for 343, and some are speculating whether it could be something like more, battle royale-ish, not necessarily battle royale altogether, but something that's going to welcome a new audience, something new for Halo. And I don't know, it feels like for me, Certain Affinity has always been like kind of aligned with Xbox, aligned with Halo. The founder has ties with Bungie. He used to work on Halo even when he worked at Bungie, right? He leaves, forms Certain Affinity, then they become a support studio for Halo. Make a lot of content for it over the course of the years, and they've went on to do multiple things for multiple franchises. But then you have the rumors of, Project Suerte, which is this Monster Hunter type game that's going to be Certain Affinity's first big original game, and that is supposed to be potentially being made by or published by Xbox and funded by Xbox. And also now you have the deepening of the relationship with 343 and being entrusted to evolve the Halo franchise with something exciting and new. Let's see all these taglines. So where do we think this is gonna go? I mean, I think for one thing, without any other questions, I think it's good for 343 to get some big time help from some teams that are Halo veterans as well, right? Do we see this being a positive for Halo Infinite over the course of this generation? Jasper, what do you think, man? Like Certain Affinity.
I mean, yeah, we kind of talked about this on the podcast last week. I was like mentioning that 343 should bring in a support studio to so they can fill in that back in content, like all the cosmetics and like all that stuff, and then have another studio just like work on the maps or the game modes or whatever they want to make. That way they can have two studios working on the same game and pump out content faster. That's why Call of Duty has 10 studios working on one Call of Duty. They can pump out content every week.
So what I'm wondering, though, is if this is an original mode that's going to require its own level of content support, right? Because if it is like a BR type mode, then that in and itself requires a big commitment. You know what I mean? So, like Fuzzy, is that the right move to put them on like this own specific mode, or do you think they should just be brought in to help with everything existing that they need help with?
It's kind of a tough call. I think the help in general is going to be a big plus, but like with them, I want to say it definitely is going to be a big help in the sense that if they're going to be entrusted, I mean, all the buzzwords that they're using sounds like, organic growth in the making kind of deal. But if they're going to be brought on board to kind of help with a new mode or something along those lines, as long as that studio can ramp up, because with them putting that hiring thing out there, as long as they can ramp up to have a team be able to be dedicated to that while they still work on that Project Suerte as well, and they have enough people to do so, then I think it'll be fine. But if it winds up being that they wind up being all of their attention winds up being focused on this and taken away from their first AAA game where Xbox Studios is going to publish it, it might not help anybody at that end of things, as far as one, the game that they were going to make, and then two, they might not have all the attention properly focused on that new mode. But I think this is a move in the right direction, to say the least, just for the fact that a game like Halo Infinite, at least the multiplayer, it needs all of the content it can muster, and if they can bring on board another dev studio that's been working with a franchise, it can only help matters as far as getting that stuff pumped out faster, kind of like what Jasper was saying.
The only problem I see is if they do a BR mode, they have to be like the continuous dev support for that BR mode. If they just like make a map and then like, hey, we got a BR mode, that's dead in the water on arrival. Like if you're not going to update it overall, like there's no point. Like that's how BRs thrive, is constant updates.
That's what I'm getting at. Like you can't, and that takes a lot of work, right? And a certain Affinity is like a good studio, you know what I mean? But like they already also have another project they're working on, you know what I mean? So I don't know if they could do like, I think they could do, support the BR game and make another game at the same time. But I don't know if they can support Halo Infinite, make the BR mode, and also do another game all at the same time and like equally, have good quality across the board. Now, but they also are hiring. This goes along with the careers page, and they have several positions up there, right? So this is also involving some more investment from Microsoft, it seems like, to grow that studio, which also leads me to potentially, again, I know a lot of people don't like just going into acquisition and speculation town and stuff like this, but like sometimes it just feels like it's just too much lined up to ignore.
Yeah.
And with the Suerte thing, and then now this, and teaming up with 343 and a new mode and stuff like that. I mean, it's like that's two different projects aligned with Xbox ongoing at the same time, right?
Also, maybe that relationship is so close that they don't consider having to need to buy them out. Maybe they're like, hey, we're good friends. We don't need to buy you out. Just keep on working together.
That's true as well. At some point, though, what usually dictates some of that is what's best for the publisher, like cost wise and stuff as well. Like if they have to keep making deals with this team because they need them, right? At some point, does it make more sense just to bring them in as part of your team, so that way you're not having to negotiate all these contracts all the time. You know what I mean? And then also you can have more control over the growth of the studio as well, and then help them get into offices and and all these different things that like you don't necessarily have the benefit of doing if you're just funding their next project, right? And but then also if you're the independent studio like certain Affinity has been, you get comfortable with this relationship, and then at a certain point is like they've been able to take on other projects because they've been independent, right? Which they wouldn't have the opportunity to do anymore, right? So there's definitely like pluses and minuses, but I just think they're going to be so tied up closely with Microsoft over the next several years. I don't know if there's any room left for them to really work with anybody else.
It's kind of weird because like the games they've worked on, Microsoft has went out and bought every single game they've worked on pretty much. So like all their experience,
Doom,
Microsoft now owns. Yeah, like Call of Duty. It's like,
I mean, seriously though, like you're right though, because they've done multiplayer work on some of the biggest franchises out there, right? Because they are known as being a team to go to that knows how to implement matchmaking systems, and also like maps and design maps and have like a functional multiplayer mode, right? That they can design and implement. And they've been handed off those reins on big franchises, right? But like you're right, like those franchises that they've been doing that for, Xbox owns all of them now. So like, does that take away the ability also from them to get other projects from outside of Microsoft?
Yeah, I mean, that's either like maybe that's why they're starting their own project, because maybe they fear like we're not going to get any work now that Microsoft owns all of our people that come to us. It's like maybe we'll start making our own projects.
Yeah, but that also might make them more valuable to Xbox than they were before as well. As okay, well, we need these guys to work on all of these franchises they have. It just like, because that's another reason why it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like they have experience working on Doom, and you said Call of Duty. I forgot like that they were.
Yeah, I think they worked on Ghost or something.
Right. And Halo, obviously, right? I mean, they have experience working across the board on several big franchises that they're going to own or they do own currently. And I think it holds a lot of value. And Max Holberman, the founder of Certain Affinity, is, I mean, no slouch to, you know, the industry. You know, the Xbox has a history of kind of acquiring studios that have really great talent at the head positions, and his backbone of multiplayer gameplay and implementing what we know of matchmaking on console today in gameplay systems. I mean, he's pretty much the architect of that with Halo 2. And like having somebody that has that capability just actually at your disposal could help all of your franchises, especially a company that is into multiplayer gaming as Xbox is, right? Um, I don't know. It just seems like a good fit. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
going to be anything there to it because maybe Certain Affinity just doesn't want that, you know?
So maybe Microsoft needs a support studio because like they're contracting Crystal Dynamics to help with Perfect Dark. So maybe Microsoft's just looking to buy a support studio to like just throw them on different projects that need help and like save money in the long run too.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so. But this BR mode, right? Let's say I'm gonna say BR. I don't know exactly. I think it's like codename Tatanka or something.
Tanaka maybe.
Tatanka. I can't remember.
Tanaka was a Spartan in 5, I think.
Certain Affinity to Tonka. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna bring up. I'll put this into the source. It's Tatanka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is from Windows Central. I'll put this in the description below as well. Um, so it seems the new mode, codenamed Tatanka, could be several months out at this point. Is designed to be a more newcomer-friendly experience that isn't as demanding competitively than existing multiplayer modes. It also intended to entice users who typically aren't interested in Halo, potentially targeting gamers on Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, or Apex Legends. Depending on your interpretation of newcomer friendly, that could potentially point to a PvE style experience like Gears of War Horde mode. It could also point to Firefight from Halo in the past as well,
They
or
had that
perhaps
Warzone mode.
Warzone or something like
Yeah.
Halo 5's Warzone, where players fought in chaotic battles. Blah blah blah. One could also speculate that its goal to bring in newcomers to the Halo franchise may point to a battle royale like mode, which has long been a big question about where Halo Infinite might go. 343 seems to have ruled out Battle Royale for Halo Infinite in the past, though. So it's hard to say for sure if it's on the cards. It says this new mode will also hook into Halo Infinite's upcoming Forge mode, according to their information, and feature player-created content as a core part of the experience. It will also leverage existing. This sounds like Fortnite almost, right?
Yeah, Fortnite does that arena on their like battle royale map where it like changes like whatever the player created maps are.
Yep. It says they'll also leverage existing cosmetics from Halo Infinite's existing multiplayer progression, while potentially having a new progression system of its own on top, right? So whatever it is, I feel like it's going to be, even if it is like battle royale-ish, is going to be a fresh take on it, and not. It's going to be whatever this is going to be uniquely Halo.
It also sounds like it's going to be a separate launcher, kind of like how they broke up Warzone and Call of Duty like into 2 different apps. Like it seems like they're going to break this up. So if you want to play Halo Arena, you launch Halo Infinite, but if you want to play this, you just start up Halo BR mode,
which that would be necessary if they were trying to do their own progression system.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Does this excite you guys at all? I mean, like
what? I mean, more Halo. It's always good.
Yeah, more Halo. It says several months out, which that doesn't sound like that far away, actually. You know, like
time for the holidays, kind of thing, if not sooner.
I mean, several months out seems like pretty close to me. You know what I mean?
Potential like, E3 reveal.
Maybe. I mean, did you say several months out? Like, what does that mean to you guys? Like, does that mean like 6
several
months?
months means more than 3?
Yeah,
more than 3.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. I mean, I'm fearing possibly something in time for the holidays.
Okay. So also from Windows Central today, it says the studio announced that it's deepening its contributions to Halo, specifically to work on Halo Infinite. Blah 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 blah. Now it says a few weeks ago, it was also revealed that Microsoft and Certain Affinity are working on Xbox exclusive dubbed Project Suerte. While we have the code name and project info, Jeff Grubb on his show Grub Snacks revealed that Suerte is a Monster Hunter-like action game exclusively coming to Xbox and PC. So rumors that they have received on Windows Central point to it having battle royale elements complete with a shrinking arena. He suspects it will have a unique twist or two to differentiate itself from Call of Duty or Fortnite, though. So it seems like Jez is pointing to pretty BR-y, you know?
Yeah, it's just tough because like Halo Infinite right now is so behind with like co-op and Forge. Like, do they really want to push this game mode out and then not have the other modes that they've promised already? You know, like
Right. I don't like. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking season 3.
well, even season 3 is not guaranteed co-op.
There's no season 2 is co-op.
Oh, it's Forge is the
Yeah.
season
So
3. Yeah.
Co-op is supposed to be in the middle of season 2. Okay. Season 2 starts on May 3rd. My birthday. I'm very excited. Very excited for that day. Okay. Got season 2. Got new maps for my birthday. Yes. Let's go. Now, they said somewhere in the middle of season 2 we should have co-op. Okay. That seems at this point fairly likely. And then they are targeting Forge mode, which is already being tested for the start of season 3, which we do not know when that's coming. Are they going to go to a 3-month, or are they going to go to a 6-month? So if it's 6 months, right, which I'm going to assume because this last season was like 6 months, then you're looking at November, right? So this would go like May to November, and that would make sense, right? You have a holiday season, you have season 3 of Halo, right? And you have a huge drop for Forge mode with open up the custom map editor, everybody, the game will be all of a sudden flooded with, new maps, and you probably have a custom game browser, all that fun stuff, right? And then also a new battle royale type mode at that time with the announcement of the season 3 content, a hint of it at E3 or what, not E3, but whatever the summer show is, right? A hint of that for later this year.
Yeah,
right?
we'll see because like originally they planned on the first season being like shorter, but then they're like, oh, we're so behind on this, so we're gonna make it 6 months to catch up
You're
for
saying
big
that
season
season
2.
3 could be 3 months out, 4 months out?
Yeah, I'm thinking like if they do a 3-month season for season 2 and they're still like behind on Forge, like if it's still not ready, they may like just add an extra month or 2 to season 2 at the end of the day. Like that's not unheard of, just to add an extra few months to the battle pass.
Yeah,
That's already out.
Fortnite and stuff does that all the time.
Yeah.
Like they have extended seasons like crazy long before, because like the seasons on there would last like 10 to 11 weeks on average before. They kind of mix it up, but I'm kind of thinking the way that things used to be on Fortnite, but they would have like 10 or 11 weeks, right? And then like there would be out of content for the battle pass, and they would just come out with like other things for a while because they were working on something bigger, right?
Yeah.
And so they weren't able to get it done in time. But usually those kind of instances coincided with large updates.
Yeah.
Right.
Which Forge should be a large update too. So.
It should be, you'd think, because Forge mode comes along with endless amounts of extra gameplay with all the all the custom stuff, right? So that's one of the biggest things been missing, I think, from Halo Infinite is that whole community is absent from Halo right now. Right? I mean, you're talking about Halo has a huge creator community in it, right? That's been there ever since Forge mode existed. And this is the first one that the game's been out for, 6 months now almost, and they haven't had access to do anything that they want to do in the game. So they'll have to wait another probably 6 months or so, but eventually that whole community will have access to the game, or have access to their tools. But once they do, we'll get all those crazy game modes. You will get all those crazy maps, all that stuff that the kiddies played when I was playing Arena Slayer. The little Jaspers were running around playing zombies or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
You guys were
Fat
doing.
man on blow up the bridge.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's like there's a definite age thing there, too. Like I never got into that stuff, but like I noticed the younger Halo players, guys are in like their 20s and stuff. Like that's the Halo for them.
I would come home from school and play like 8 hours of custom games, which is on custom maps.
Yeah, that's what they think. That's Halo for them. And that just because like that wasn't their Halo 2, like that's not what I ever thought of as Halo, but it's a huge thing, absolutely massive. Jigga J with a $2 super chat. Thanks, Jigga. Says, when do we get a new Fusion Frenzy and 1 versus 100? Well, 1 versus 100 was rumored to be in the works. That's one of the code names I think that's out there.
That's been rumored in the works for like 10 years now.
True. That's true. We'll see if that ever happens. Fusion Frenzy, I don't know. I can hope sooner than later. Fusion Frenzy is awesome. So they need to come out with a Fusion Frenzy game. They need their own party game. They are doing like party animals and Game Pass, but the trick is like who are they gonna get to develop some of these games? Fuzzy, I always thought that they should have like a certain amount of dev teams that are kind of dedicated to like family type experiences, and come up with that whole branding.
That's just Minecraft for them.
Well, yeah, that's Minecraft. They got Minecraft and they got Rare. As you can see at these,
they still need another one.
Yeah,
it seems like Rare isn't really doing the family game stuff as much. I mean, yeah, Sea of Thieves can kind of be family, but they're working on Everwild, which doesn't really seem to be like that type of family game. But fingers crossed if they get that whole Activision deal, you got Toys for Bob or something like that. So I could see that being their go-to for like those style games type of thing. But it would be nice if they did pick up a few more smaller studios that can focus on, things more, family oriented or like Battletoads or your like not necessarily Lego Star Wars, but something along those lines type of thing where it's like fun for everyone in the family, or even things like King Beasts or Party Animals and things like that. It'd be kind of cool.
Sure, man. Yeah, I think you had. I think that most of their teams are tied up in such big projects right now, so it's kind of takes away from them being able to do a bunch of different games, But if,
they got Grounded.
yeah, but then the rest of Obsidian is like got like 3 massive.
Yeah, they're making 5 games.
Yeah, so it's like, and Grounded is definitely one of those type of games. But I don't know. I'm talking about like, okay, you release a game, you come out with it, and next year you release another one. A year later you release another one, and you can have all these like fun, family type game experiences, and just have a couple studios that just do that, as opposed to like these ongoing live service things where it takes up the studio forever. That's kind of what happens, it seems like. Jigga J says he heard Toys for Bob is being pulled into Blizzard. That's Vicarious Visions. I'm not sure if Toys for Bob is part of that or not, but Vicarious Visions is the ones that had done remakes for like Tony Hawk and also some other thing. But that's already was all part. They'd announced that a long time ago, and they were disappointed. They even came out and said that they were disappointed after that was announced. But this is part of that. We'll see if Xbox reverses course on that after the acquisition. We'll see. I don't know how that's going to go, but
yeah.
All right, guys. Certain Affinity, yeah. Excited. I'm excited. We'll see what it is. Looking like the future. It still feels a little like, dead right now. Halo, right? Just like currently, but the future.
Well, what's weird is MCC just got a big update.
Yeah, with the flood and stuff. Right?
Yeah, they did that, and now you can cross-play on PC and Xbox on campaign on Halo 3 and ODST.
Yeah, that's great. See, this is why I'm also not worried about Infinite. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe that was the groundwork to kind of test it. test the co-op and crossplay. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
MCC is like, man, that thing has just gotten better and better and better and better. Even dropping newer maps last like year, it was crazy, right?
Yeah, it's just it took them 5 years to start working on that, but
yeah, eventually they got it right. I mean, I think Halo Infinite's gonna stand the like during the whole generation. We'll be playing Halo Infinite for like 8 years more, right? Maybe even more than that. So,
but then it runs into the problem of GTA 5 where it's like, just make a new one already.
They will. That will be the conversation at some point, right? But we only see it as now as his first, 5 months of release, and like, where's the content? Where's all this stuff? And 3 or 4 years from now, we'll be looking at like, there's like that content won't really be a question because there'll be so much stuff. It'll just be like, when's the next Halo, right?
I think eventually also they could technically drop like future content for Xbox One, because that's what GTA did on the 360 when it came out of the one. Like eventually they were like, we're not putting any more content on the 360. If you want new content, you got to play on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Well, I could also foresee Xbox
or making them cloud stream it. But
you're right. That's a good point. I could also foresee them like just upping, like whenever new stuff, like new tech comes out, like updating the game to where there be less asking for that, because like with like GTA, like you got to pay for the remaster, right?
Yeah.
And I mean they kind of keep some content fresh and stuff, but like with Halo Infinite, I feel like with the Xbox's model, they're gonna keep it updated and fresh with whatever the latest tech is. You know what I mean? The new stuff comes out, and as long as they can put it in the game and update it, they're probably going to. Eventually there'll be ray tracing on there and stuff like that when it makes sense, and other things as well. But I don't foresee them like stopping support on updating the game, right? I just think it's going to get better and better. It's just kind of what they've been doing with a lot of their games.
Yeah.
They may launch a little bit bare bones at times, you know what I mean? But over time, they turn out to be pretty good. May take them.
Yeah, I just don't think their
started
priority
off
right
light.
now is adding ray tracing.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
A few years from now, it'll have ray tracing
Yeah.
in it. It won't be a question. You know what I mean? Like it's when it makes sense to add it. Right now, it's a
Yeah, wasn't
tagline. I don't
Gears
even.
5, didn't they do that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they added it. I didn't even give.
They got
shit.
the next gen patch or whatever. But
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to play a game at 30 frames to have ray tracing in it.
yeah.
Like the
Well,
payoff
Halo
isn't
should be
there
able
for
to
me.
do 60. You would think.
It should, right? You'll see. We'll see. But they also may have been waiting for all this, the AMD stuff and all of these other things to happen. That finally is happening. But maybe they have to cut off last gen support. Like, who knows exactly what is all involved. But I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to be in a good place, even if. And there's like, it's not like you can't go on Halo and find a game.
True.
Right? It's not dead like that. Oh, I've been sitting here for an hour. I can't even find a match. Man, this is a dead game. Like if you want to play Halo, you can have a great time. And go play it, and with the knowing that there's even more content coming. So a lot of people have been like really negative on it, but I saw a lot of excitement with the Lone Wolves trailer. And this also more excitement with certain Affinity now, and you kind of start to see that hype train building on this again a little bit. Yeah. So hey guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of FSP. This is episode 16, as Fuzzy told me before the show. So thanks for looking that up because I completely forgot. It's been so long since we've had a show. And I appreciate the chat for finding us on a new night, a new time. I know you guys are probably about to watch RDX. It starts in 20 minutes. So look forward to checking that out. And they're having a crossover show. They had a crossover show yesterday with Colt, I think. And now they're doing something tonight on their channel. So, but hey, Fuzzy, it's been real, dude. Talking games with you again for the first time in a few weeks, man. I want to make sure everybody knows where they can find you.
Well, just want to say it was awesome being on here with you guys. Always great being on a podcast with Jasper, man. Your insight on a lot of these games is always greatly appreciated, man. For those that want to hear my ramblings or see my bad driving on the internet, you can follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere or on YouTube fuzzy_Belvedere. Also find me on Breakfast with Boom on Friday mornings at 10 and on the Shop Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays. But always love doing this with you guys, man. Awesome being back. Thanks again.
Heck yeah, man. And as we call him, the lore master himself, the realist, Debbie Downer, all the above. Jasper, tell everybody where they can find you.
Check me out at Lore Jasper on Twitter and Lore Master Jasper on YouTube. Yeah, and Fun Pop tomorrow night. Probably talk about, I guess, Halo and Moon Knight.
That's all we've been talking about lately.
Yeah.
That's all there is to talk about, really.
Yeah. And then Xbox Ultimate on Fridays, where we will talk about whatever the Xbox news is of that week. So,
heck yeah. All right. And guys, check out PM in the PM tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, Thursday. Sorry, I get my days. It's Tuesday right now, right? Yeah, so tomorrow's Fun Pop. Thursday is PM in the PM, and Friday's Xbox Ultimate. That's the way it's going to be, Tuesday through Friday. Shows here on Fun Speculation, and also check out game streams randomly throughout the week. And yeah, I thank you all. I'm super excited that you guys actually found our show today in the chat. So it seems like that worked out well. So appreciate you all, and I hope to see you again on this show and our other shows going forward. Appreciate you all. Have a good one. Take it easy. Bye bye.
Later.